need to be very careful. Reporting in Breezewood, I'm Kathleen Koch, Headline News.
In Queens, New York, up to 60 cars collided in a pileup on the Grand Central Parkway. 23 people suffered minor injuries. Police are blaming the accident on the weather. They say drivers would see the crashed cars ahead of them, slam on their brakes, and skid on ice slicks created by steady rain and below freezing temperatures. Stay tuned for the extended national weather forecast coming up at 8 minutes and 38 minutes past the hour.
No emergency, restricting all but essential travel. Roads covered with ice and snow vanished in blizzard-like conditions. By mid-morning, county plows were waging a near futile battle with the changing weather. Drivers sometimes driving blind and not sure they were doing much good.
That's just an example of what's happening. It's getting pretty bad. This road was open this morning, and now it's almost drifting shut.
Ground zero for frustration. This would be take a look. I think these are three lines that have kind of come together and formed one. A lot of these folks are waiting for planes that are actually leaving, and some basically are canceled. But, you know, it's been like that all day long.
It was as challenging getting to the airport as it was trying to fly out. While crews worked nonstop clearing ramps and runways for the few planes with at least the administrative clearance to escape the deep freeze here, after, of course, they have been de-iced, sometimes at least twice. The ice, though, clearly gave people a forecast of what many of them could expect once they did make it to the terminal, which, of course, is packed with folks who have been waiting and dreaming of destinations where all of this cold winter weather is at least a world away. It's enough to turn your stomach in knots.
Half a bottle of Maalox. We thought we'd try Pepsid-AC as well.
I tell you what, they sold a lot of that stuff as well as Excedrin and other aspirin-type products today because many of these folks have been here for such a long time. But there is good news, bad news. The good news is that some flights are leaving, not all of them. Some are canceled, depending on where. You could imagine Detroit, Chicago, whatever. They're going to have problems. There are a lot of flights coming in, especially from those areas that are not affected by this winter storm. So the bottom line is if you have to pick somebody up or if you're departing yourself, try to check with the airline and find out the status. If not, come out and have fun. You'll have a lot of company. Reporting live from the airport, Jack Martin, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
I don't know if fun is the right word,
No.
but you certainly will have company.
Exactly.
Not look like a good time out there. As for your paper delivery, Indianapolis Star carriers were able to get out and deliver the Sunday Star, but those of you in the outlying areas had to wait a bit. Carriers didn't begin delivery until 2 o'clock this afternoon. They hope to wrap up by 7 o'clock tonight, and tomorrow the newspapers hope to stay on schedule. Well, the first winter storm of '99 delivered a 1-2 punch to Indiana. Some of the outlying roads are so bad, even snowplows need help digging out. Just ahead, we'll take you along for a bird's eye view of the winter blast from Chopper 13.
And the sub-zero cold created some big headaches for people in one West Side neighborhood. We'll tell you more about that as well.
Port hopes soar in the early going as planes begin taking off on time. Crews work frantically to de-ice those planes. Each has about 30 minutes to get in the air after the process is complete, or the plane will have to be brought back and they'll have to do it all over again. A line forms at the Zionsville interchange along I-65 as state police decide to close the northbound lane. In Lebanon, you have to really look hard to find anything or anyone stirring around in the snow. This man ventures out to free his car. He has that in common with these three along I-69 and 238. This plow sprays snow off I-65, and this one off I-74. In Indianapolis, the salt trucks dispense their product, while homeowners can only wish to do the same. This man may not realize it, but he and everyone else today have one thing in common with all of these kids on Butler Hill. So much to do, so little time. Kevin Rader, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
And of course, there is plenty of joy in this, especially for the kids who found out, yippee, many of them don't have to go to school tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much every public school is being closed down tomorrow because of the winter conditions. And, you know, the Butler Hill looked great today. It was just getting to the hill that was the difficulty.
Again, main artery is pretty good. Side streets rotten, really bad. The winter storm is blamed for a variety of problems, from frozen gas pumps at service stations to broken water lines in residential neighborhoods. Some West Side residents woke up to find they had no water. It was all out there in the street. 2 broken water mains off 30th Street kept water company workers tied up for hours. A plunge in the temperatures caused the problem, and it affected dozens of customers.
A nice warm basement, and my water never froze, and I've been here 45 years.
There was no water, but we were expecting it because it had been bubbling out in the street since New Year's morning. That was our Happy New Year's present.
Not a good way to start 99. It took about 4 hours to restore water service to most of those West Side homeowners.
Well, the winter storm may be a headache for most people, but for the kids, it's a perfect day of sledding. There you see another picture of sled riding at Butler Hill.
Now, what can we expect for the work week once we do get back to work? Bob Gregory with your SkyTrack 13 forecast when we return.
There's a celebration going on at your Jeep.
Folks, and it was brought to its knees by nearly 22 inches of snowfall. Sounds impressive, and it is the second greatest snow on record in the Windy City, only upped by the late January event of 1967. Anywhere in the White, better than a foot of snow fell, including another large metropolitan area, namely Detroit, Michigan. Indianapolis, I believe, had roughly 9 inches. Milwaukee had about 15. Chicago, though, as far as big cities go, very, very impressive. 21.6, we rounded up. I mean, it's windy, so it's going to be ½ an inch either way. South Bend, 16. Peoria, 16. Milwaukee, 14. Moline, the Quad Cities area, picking up a foot, and even Madison, Wisconsin, about 10 inches. Very cold air now from Madison and Chicago westbound. Thankfully, there's nothing falling, but there still could be some wind-driven snow, so drivers, take it easy on 30.
The city is also trying to clear more subdivisions. They say they won't get to all the cul-de-sacs in the subdivisions, but they will try to get to the main roads through the additions. Workers are also trying to clear city sidewalks downtown and handicap access ramps so people can go to work tomorrow. And let's try to break down that $15,000 an hour. $12,000 spent right here on city workers. The other $3,000 is spent on hiring private contractors.
And most of them are pretty busy working for private subdivisions, retail outlets, and have been only available to us in a limited way. We have about 20 pieces of equipment. Some are working cleaning up intersections. Some are doing some other specialized sorts of work. But as a rule, our drivers, our trucks, our salt, our training makes our guys work a lot more effectively.
Getting pretty hectic around here as they shift change here at the city lot. One point we do want to mention, city trash pickup is scheduled to resume tomorrow. It's also the day that the route changes are being undertaken. So if your city trash day is supposed to change this week, remember that. But if you are scheduled for trash pickup tomorrow, get your trash out to the curb. The mayor says they may miss some people just because of the condition of the roads, but they want to start trying to get back to everybody. I know as far as mine goes, I have 3 bags of trash buried somewhere out in the snow in front of my house. Yeah. I'm going to have to dig that out before they can get to it later this week.
Yeah, it was kind of fun excavating the newspaper out of there this morning, too.
I didn't even try that one. You were braver than I was, Mike.
All right, Glenn, thanks. Glenn Augustine.
Well, Central Indiana isn't the only place Old Man Winter is making trouble this weekend.
Coming up, we'll take a trip around the Middle West to see some other spots hit hard by this winter blast.
That made driving treacherous and caused long delays and cancellations at airports across the land.
They started digging out early Sunday, the day after the second biggest snowfall in Chicago's history. Nearly 22 inches of snow fell in less than 24 hours, leaving several people dead and thousands without power. Runways once buried beneath ice and snow at the nation's busiest airport reopened Sunday, but by then, Chicago's O'Hare looked like a makeshift shelter.
We're just trying to make arrangements, whatever flight we can get on at this point. We just want to get to the East Coast.
But that may be difficult. The same weather system that buried the Midwest is now pounding the East Coast with buckets of rain and freezing ice. This 50-car pileup in New York was one of several serious accidents. In fact, travel troubles backed up commuters as far as the West Coast.
Chicago, Dallas, you may not get out for 2 or 3 days.
Oh, for real?
Chicago is completely shut down.
In southern Illinois and Iowa, cleanup from the wintry blast was made all the more difficult by high winds and a plummeting mercury. Still, Midwesterners are made of a hardy stock. Some saw this snow-covered wonderland as a pleasant diversion from the harsh reality of winter. But winter enthusiasts had better bundle up. In a 1-2 punch, Old Man Winter is following this weekend's pounding with bone-chilling temperatures falling well below zero with the wind chill factor. And forecasters are predicting that much of the nation will remain in the deep freeze well into the first week of the new year. Maureen Maher, CBS News, Chicago.
And while the Midwest deals with the ice and snow, folks in Florida are dealing with water, tons of it. Palm Beach County homes and businesses suffered damage after a severe storm there made a visit on Saturday. More than 31 inches of rain fell in that area. Water seeped into homes and flooded dozens of streets. High winds blew piles of truck trailers over and caused thousands of dollars in property damage. Well, still ahead, a final check on your work week forecast.
And
plowing through layers of snow and ice. Work crews continue to wage war with Mother Nature tonight in order to pave your way back to reality. Our big story tonight, digging out from the first winter storm of 1999. Good evening to you. I'm Martha Weaver.
And I'm Stacia Matthews. Dave Erickson is off tonight. Our first order of business, school closings. A complete list of cancellations and delays will continue to run across the bottom of your screen throughout this newscast. Now, in order to accommodate the large number of closings, we've limited our ticker to schools, large businesses, and some government offices. If you have questions about your workplace, our best advice is to call ahead. Many roads, including part of I-65, are also closed tonight. That's especially true for side streets. Rafael Sanchez is live and will be telling us now when we can expect the plows to reach our neighborhoods. Rafael.
Hi, Stacia. As you can see behind me, some of the plows are back here to one of the nerve centers of the salt barns here near downtown to pick up more salt to head to your neighborhood. One driver has told me that this is really hopeless tonight. As you can see, it is snowing a little bit where I am right now. He says the drifting snow and the temperatures that are dropping are making it very difficult for them to get all the ice and snow off the streets. Right now, there are 85 salt trucks out on Indianapolis streets, and half of them are on neighborhood streets. It's Operation Meltdown.
I've gotten 4 buckets of salt, 60 gallons of calcium. Going to a
Aaron
special
Savage
route right
is
now.
pumped
I'll contact
for
you
a
later.
fight everyone wants him to win.
A little stressful at times because you feel that you're fighting to remove the snow and Mother Nature keeps pouring more snow on you, so you look and think sometimes that you're not winning the battle.
Savage is one of a dozen drivers moving snow and scraping ice from residential neighborhoods.
And I do get some satisfaction out in the mornings or whenever I get off sometime to look at the road and say, well, I've made sure that everybody can get to work and on time, and it's not hazardous out here that they won't be in any accidents or anything like that.
There's so much ice on these roads that you could pretty much skate in them. And the last thing any school district wants is for their buses to be slipping and sliding with your children.
Our real concern is the side streets and children waiting out on bus stops. We figure a lot of the buses would have trouble in some of these side streets as they just could not get through them.
Kids didn't mind sliding on the ice or getting an extra vacation day, which for some was worthy of a song. And with no break from the freezing temperatures on the horizon, it could take days before the snowblowers, the shovels, or the salt trucks will really make a difference. And behind me right now, some of the hardest working people, the salt truck drivers who are doing their best, again, to get all the salt and to get all the snow and ice off the roads before your morning commute. You know, this fight against Mother Nature does not come cheap. The city of Indianapolis alone has already spent more than $500,000 in snow and ice removal. We're live near downtown. Rafael Sanchez, 6 News.
Rafael, what about garbage pickup? Is that on schedule?
Well, you know, they use some of the garbage trucks to fight some of this snow and ice. Tomorrow, 2/3 of Indianapolis homeowners will have a new trash pickup date or a new trash hauler. Trash pickup will go as planned. The city wants to make sure that whatever you put out on the curb tomorrow will be picked up. If you have any problems with your trash service tomorrow, though, you are asked to call 327-TRASH. That number is 327-TRASH. And give the people that work those hotlines tomorrow some time to get work because it is still quite messy out here.
It sure is. Thanks very much, Raphael.
More information on winter rules of the road. For the second time in as many days, part of I-65 is closed tonight. The section closed right now is between Lafayette and US 30 in Merrillville. The interstate reopened this morning, then state police closed it again about 4 o'clock today due to blowing snow and near whiteout conditions. Again, I-65 is closed from Lafayette north to US 30 in Merrillville. Stay with 6 News for updates tomorrow morning. Many Hoosier roads, although not closed, are virtually impassable. If you don't have to travel, do not. And again, we ask that you do not tie up emergency lines with questions about road closings and conditions. State police have set up a toll-free number for updates. It's on your screen. The number is 1-800-261-7623. It is also smooth driving on the Information Superhighway at www.state.in.us/ISP. Governor Frank O'Bannon lifted the statewide snow emergency tonight, but many snow emergencies remain for individual counties, 45 in all, mostly in central and northern Indiana. Governor O'Bannon received the latest briefing from state emergency workers late this afternoon. They say drifting is a problem in many outlying areas. Our pictures from Skycam 6 high above the ground show you just how bad it really is, and the governor has this advice.
Well, if you don't have to be out and travel in weather like this, whether it's ice or whether it's snow, certainly stay at home and stay off the highways in every way possible. It also gives the people with the equipment trying to clean the roads, open the roads where there's county or city or state, the opportunity to get them cleared up for everyone. Okay.
Now, state employees who work in a county under a snow emergency do not have to report to work tomorrow, but if you work, for example, in Marion County, where there isn't a snow emergency, but live in a county where there is a declared snow emergency, you must call in to work and take a personal day if you can't report to work.
Battling a fire is never easy, but tonight's weather made it especially difficult for firefighters on the north side. Frozen hydrants hampered efforts to put out a house fire at 6494 Wellington Road. It was a familiar location for Washington Township firefighters who had made 2 trips there earlier today. One at 4 a.m. when the first fire broke out, and again this afternoon to make sure that fire was put out. Tonight's fire badly damaged the ranch home. No one was hurt. It's also slow going tonight at Indianapolis International Airport. Travelers dug in for a long haul today, one of the busiest travel days of the year. Norman Cox is live at the airport with more on what you can expect tomorrow, whether your mission is business or pleasure. Norman.
Well, Stacia, as you can see, this is no longer a war zone. There aren't many people behind me now, mainly because all the scheduled flights are over for the night. Now, that doesn't mean that all those flights took off. Some of them did, and the people that were on them got where they're going. Others were canceled, and the people went back to their homes or their hotels or wherever they're staying, knowing that they won't get out of here for at least a couple of days.
It's been a frustrating weekend for people trying to return home, like this woman who's been fighting multiple cancellations to get back to Chicago for 2 days.
Yeah, and they just canceled the last flight out tonight, so we're going to try again for tomorrow. I have a good friend. She's going to let me stay over again.
How long is she going to let you stay?
Indefinitely, because she pays really good rent.
One woman who lives in Michigan City came down here to catch a flight to California because tickets were cheaper from here. She says she isn't sorry, even though the drive took 5.5 hours.
No.
Think you'll make it out tonight?
Hopefully.
Is it frightening delayed so far?
Yeah, 2 hour and a half. It's been delayed.
Can you live with that?
Yeah, I can live with it for a little bit, for a little while. Not long though.
Airport officials always say to call ahead. At least one traveler can testify that that doesn't always do you any good.
Well, we called before we left from up around the Anderson area. We called and they said flight's still on, flying into Chicago. We get here and it's canceled. So now the earliest we can get out is Tuesday. So
this woman looks like she's found the most comfortable spot in the since she's been waiting for her stepdaughter from Pittsburgh for a day and a half.
This is the 3rd trip here. They keep calling us saying, oh, it's on the way, on the way. And now this time it's engine trouble and they're going to have to come back, or I don't know.
So how do you feel?
Frustrated and worried and no fingernails left. And
Although all of these scheduled departures for the night are over, there's still a couple of dozen flights scheduled to arrive. Those which haven't been canceled, vast majority of them are delayed seriously. Only about 5 of them are still listed on the board as being on time. Now, tomorrow morning's departures, and tomorrow, of course, the first day of the business week, a lot of people going away on business travel, they're mostly listed as on time, but that's a long way off, and that doesn't really mean much until you get closer to flight time. We've had a lot of horror stories from people coming in from St. Louis about how tough it was there. I just talked to a Northwest Airlines flight crew member, said it was a zoo at Minneapolis, St. Paul. Those 2 cities, Chicago and Detroit, seem to be in the biggest messes. So if your travel plans for tomorrow involve any of those 4 cities, there's a serious chance that you will have some kind of delay. Live from Indianapolis International Airport, I'm Norman Cox, 6 News.
Martha and I were both saying folks just seem to be taking it all in stride.
Yeah, I talked to one lady from Chicago, and she said she was pretty much amazed if this were O'Hare. It probably wouldn't be that way at all.
All right, thanks,
your
Norm.
hospitality.
Absolutely. Well, the airport's backed up, most schools are closed, and many roads are snowed in.
That's right, but tomorrow's another Monday, and some of us still have to make our way back to work. Storm Team 6 meteorologist David James is here with the wake-up weather. Dave?
Well, early tomorrow morning, it'll be no problem waking up.
That flight's canceled. Why don't you get back in line?
Our flight was supposed to go to Detroit, then to Minneapolis, and since Detroit's closed, they have a whole bunch of extra people that they can't do anything with right now. So our flight's late, so we all missed our connectors in Minneapolis.
So you feel like cattle?
Kinda, yeah.
The last comment pretty much was made tongue-in-cheek. It helps to have a sense of humor in a situation like this, but you're right. The lines pretty much, excuse me, sir, I'm trying to do something here, okay? The lines pretty much have gone away. Some hecklers haven't, though, as you could tell. But these folks here have been stranded overnight, and they will be again for at least another night. But there is some good news. As I looked at the monitor, starting tomorrow, a lot of the flights that are either scheduled to go out or come in, say on time. Whether or not that'll be the case tomorrow, we'll have to wait and see. It will be another day. Reporting live at the airport, Jack Martin, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
All right, that's what Scarlett O'Hara said. I think tomorrow is another day.
You can tell, though, some people are still frustrated because they're in my ear.
Well, across America tonight, not much moving in the skies over Chicago, maybe some snow being kicked up by snowplows and that sort of thing. They're trying to free up the runways at O'Hare International Airport. Thousands of passengers are stuck in Chicago on what's already one of the busiest travel days of the year. Of course, O'Hare Airport is one of the busiest in the world. And down in St. Louis, an icy and dicey start to the morning on area roads. Some highways turned into parking lots for semis and cars, so salt trucks could do their work with an eye on tomorrow. It is getting better, though. Most of the roads are now clear of ice and snow.
The storm that buried the Midwest in snow drenched the Northeast in rain. A record amount of rain fell in New York, flooding the roads. Cars tried to get through, but many of them stalled. Adding to the problem, ice that built up overnight melted as the temperatures rose into the mid-30s. And that same storm system made for a stormy night in this mess in Florida. Thunderstorms and tornadoes ripped apart patios and awnings and downed trees as well. The storm also snapped power lines, cutting off electricity to thousands of residents. No serious injuries, though, reported from the storms.
The holiday lights will come down in Monument Circle this year for the last time. And that story tops our look at tomorrow's Indianapolis Star headlines. The colored lights draped from the monument are worn out. You can see them here live from our downtown Circle Cam. The folks who hang them want us to help decide what they should do next year. You can find a ballot in the Indianapolis Star to vote on next year's Monument Circle holiday decoration. And you can read more about that story in tomorrow's Star or log on to starnews.com.
A bitterly cold night in central Indiana. Can we expect the same for tomorrow?
Bob Gregory will tell us what's ahead for the work week in his SkyTrack 13 forecast.
Many of the travelers who headed farther north to the worst conditions found themselves with a disappointing detour.
They barrel ahead Sunday evening northbound I-65, despite the terrible weather. High winds, slick roads, and at some spots, blinding snow. But at the second Lafayette exit, state police had other plans for many travelers. The flares mean the end of the road.
They seem kind of dejected. I think they think that they've made it this far and they want to go on the rest of the way, but they can't. It's just slick and snow covered, and it gets worse the farther you go up north.
Travelers find out police closed I-65 from Lafayette north to Chicago because of poor road conditions. Hundreds are forced to bring their trips to a halt for the night. What the travelers are finding when they get off the exit ramp is this: motel parking lots chock full of cars and trucks, and signs on the door just like that that say we have no vacancies for tonight.
I would say it's a crisis here because we have people that can't go anywhere, and I can't put them up, so we're opening up the lobby this evening.
Bob and Dina Tang and their cat Dante are one of the families forced to sleep in the lobby of the Comfort Suites Lafayette. They were supposed to be back to work on Monday in Milwaukee.
I guess it's fun, I suppose. You know, I won't want to do that again.
Rooms at all hotels in Lafayette are booked because of the interstate closing. Hotel managers are forced to improvise.
We're setting the conference room up for the women and children that are coming in. We're going to be putting them on the floor, setting the rollaways up for what we have, trying to get the elderly in mainly.
A conference room, a lobby couch. The stranded just want a place to lay their head. And at this point, many aren't picky where that is.
We put people in dirty rooms today. They don't care.
As we were leaving Lafayette, there was one Baptist church that was opening its doors to stranded travelers, but all of the hotels and motels, as we said, are maxed out to capacity. They were sending people to West Lafayette. We did see a lot of people turning around Glenn and Tina at that same exit and just heading back south. Abandoned cars all along the roadway as you head farther north. It is a grim scene. Not a good time to be out here. Still patches of ice, still blowing and drifting snow. It was a rough trip back to Lebanon. Glenn and Tina?
Yeah, it might be a good idea for you to stay put for a while there, Natalie, so that you don't become part of the crowd.
There you go. I like that idea very much.
Yeah, indeed.
The governor said tonight, too, that they needed to keep it closed at night. It was the easiest time for them to clear those roads. Hopefully they can open it back up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, there were still salt trucks out here working on that, at least in the section that is still open. What's going on farther north, I don't know, but the Tippecanoe County deputy we talked to said that it's much worse, still slick, lots of ice, blowing and drifting snow, and we're really not sure when it's going to reopen. It's opened and closed twice over the weekend.
Okay, thank you very much, Natalie Sims. All right. Well, because this is a holiday weekend, officials found it easier to close roads and businesses.
But tomorrow was supposed to be the start of the work and school week, so state and city leaders spent today figuring out how far we've dug out of the snow and what they should open or keep closed.
The ice won't work.
It looked like a war room. Governor Frank O'Bannon met with members of his emergency management team. 47 Hoosier counties have declared snow emergencies over the past 2 days. But the governor lifted the state snow emergency from the counties that didn't declare one on their own.
And there's been no fatalities in this snow emergency.
O'Bannon credited that fact to the decision by many people to stay home and the work of state transportation crews clearing the highways.
In some places we'll be putting direct sand down or some chips so we have some traction on where we have the pure ice.
The storm closed many schools, businesses, and come morning, parts of the state government.
That any of those non-essential employees that work in a county that has declared a snow emergency will not report to work.
Those who live in counties that did not declare an emergency, including Marion County, must report to work.
Some of those who are in a position that they can't get out and can't even get out from their home to get to work, they can take a personal day or a vacation day.
Indianapolis street crews aren't taking a holiday. They're now in their 3rd day of overtime.
We're making some progress by putting salt down and replowing the major arteries. We want them to be good for rush hour.
But it's not good enough for schools to open. Goldsmith says crews will try to clear more streets so the buses can roll on Tuesday.
You know, the spine into a subdivision, that we can make life a little bit easier for our residents, and that's what we're going to do.
The city is spending $15,000 an hour trying to clear the streets, $12,000 on its own workers, $3,000 on private contractors. But all the money in the city budget can't fight one thing, and that's these dropping temperatures.
We're probably going to be in a mode here for a couple days where we're going to only be able to achieve a certain amount of service until we get some warming temperatures.
Well, Indianapolis city offices will be open on Monday. The mayor also says garbage service will resume in the morning, although there may be some delays. Remember, this is the week the new trash pickup routes begin.
Hundreds of air travelers managed to escape Indiana's winter blast today. Many of them were stranded in Indianapolis overnight Saturday because of the weekend storm. They were rescheduled for flights departing for home this afternoon from Indianapolis International Airport, but passengers still found long lines everywhere they went. That's because there were just as many travelers returning to Indiana as there were leaving this city today, and that created some problems.
We're getting ready to go to Grand Cayman and soak up some sun and hopefully get away from this weather for a while. Maybe by the time we get back, we'll at least be able to move our cars because some of them are stuck in the driveway.
Has this got your frustration up a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not as bad as some of the people here, but yeah, I'm so anxious to get down there.
Now, only a handful of flights were still delayed or canceled by mid-afternoon. Airline officials say most of those problems originated at other airports. Airport workers said this was their busiest day of the season.
This weekend, snow turned out to be a little too much for a local racket club. The roof of the West Indy Racket Club on Guyan Road collapsed today under the weight of the ice and snow. The air structure roof tore away from the building and now sits snow-covered on the tennis courts. The club says once the snow thaws, it will make a decision on what to do with the building. From the tennis court to the basketball court, the winter storm wasn't enough to keep some basketball fans from Bloomington this afternoon.
You're looking at live pictures from Buffalo, New York. It's a savage condition in the region this morning. Heavy wind-blown snow is putting a lock on the area. There is a travel ban in place because of the lake effect snow. Good morning and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Marnie Stanier. Across the Great Lakes region, several communities are reeling from what's developing into massive snowfall. We'll have the latest on the lake effect snow from our forecast center. First, though, a look around the eastern U.S. at very cold conditions. Many schools are closed in Chicago following the weekend storm. The city is still gripped by Arctic air. Minneapolis has temperatures well below zero. Indianapolis could see flurries, while the Cleveland area is still seeing some snow showers. Let's take a region-by-region look at the conditions. First, the national picture showing you that light snow over parts of the southeast, even a few flurries reaching as far south as Birmingham, Alabama. But the snow is much heavier in the Great Lakes, and Rick Griffin will tell us more about that coming up in just a minute. Here's the current weather picture, and again, lake effect snow, one big story. The other big story, cold conditions across the country. You're feeling it in the northeast. Those winds are howling. Temperatures are in the teens and 20s. 34 in Boston, not very uncomfortable when you take a look at the temperature, but the wind chill's like 13. 21 currently in Albany, 15 in Elmira, and 25 in New York City. So temperatures are low, and then when you factor in the stronger winds, feels like 10 and 20 below over parts of western New York State, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and southern Michigan. 1 above as you head out to work in New York City and back to school. Philly 8 above and 10 in D.C. So the wind chills are certainly a factor. Make sure you bundle up this morning with several layers of clothing. You might want to leave yourself a little extra time for another cup of coffee before you head out the door to get nice and warm. Wind chills in the southeast also a factor. 4 below is how it feels outside now in Atlanta. 8 above Charleston, 5 in Panama City. 10 in Birmingham with snow flurries in the air. That will not add up, so don't worry about that if you plan on traveling. 11 below currently is how it feels in Little Rock. The temperature there is 16. 30 New Orleans and 31 in Houston. Current temperature is 13 in Oklahoma City, so they're under that cold Arctic air. As a matter of fact, most of this region is in a big chill, and tomorrow is going to be even worse. There's a hard freeze in effect for most of this region tomorrow morning, so we're watching colder air move into place. We do have some light rain showers popping up over parts of South Florida along a cold front, but that should not hamper any travel plans there. The upper Midwest, it's just a brutal morning here. Not only do you still have a lot of leftover snow in this area from your 22 inches or so, but the temperatures and the wind chills are just way down there. And the lake effect snow is coming down too. So a brutal Monday morning for you as you head back to work. Many schools, as I mentioned, in Chicago are closed because of the awful conditions outside. The current temperature there is 1 below. The wind chill, though, is like 26 below. 19 below Fargo, 18 below International Falls, 2 above in St. Louis. Many folks are still stranded at the airports here as well because of the major weekend storm. So things have certainly not returned to normal at all. Wind chills a factor. 51 below is how it feels outside now in Des Moines, 26 below Chicago, and in Cleveland 30 below with that snow flying around. Temperatures, or rather wind chills in the west, not as much of a factor. 36 for the reading in Seattle. That's their current temperature as well. 42 in Phoenix and 35 currently in Vegas. The western picture showing you a lot of fog, especially in the Sacramento Valley. Visibilities are quite low here this morning. And then along the stationary front, we do have reports of some snow reaching some of the locations in Colorado. Some of the ski resorts reporting some snow there. But a big story, certainly, the lake effect snow that's flying in the Great Lakes. Now we'll go to the Forecast Center with more. Rick?
Thanks a lot, Marnie. There are some very heavy lake effect snows in some sections of the Great Lakes region, like in parts of Michigan, both the upper and lower sections of the state. But perhaps the most intense snow squalls are in the eastern Great Lakes region. And as we look at radar, we can see one band of lake effect snow affecting Buffalo, and it's due to the cold air sweeping down the entire length of Lake Erie. The winds this morning are out of the southwest directly into downtown Buffalo, and that has contributed to some very heavy snowfall and whiteout conditions during the nighttime hours. Remember, Buffalo is one of the snowiest major cities in the country, and it is really, really snowing this morning. Here's what I mean. Let's go to Mike Seidel, who's live in Buffalo, New York. Good morning to you, Mike. How much snow have you had so far?
Well, Rick, right here we've had about a foot. Some of the northern suburbs have had up to 1.5 feet, and it's snowing at the rate of 1 to 2 inches an hour. It is so bad that Buffalo has a travel ban. That's how bad it is. You mentioned Buffalo being one of the snowiest major cities in the country. 95 to 100 inches typically right in town. And as we look down Church Street towards the Skyway exit, you can see several police vehicles stopping traffic from taking the Skyway. It's an elevated road, and with these very high winds, the whiteout, the blizzard conditions, they're not allowing any traffic. In fact, actually you're supposed to stay home, because what we've seen today, and we've even had this problem, we can't tell which side of the road we're driving on. In fact, we were actually on the wrong side of the road because you can't find the median, you can't find the curb. That's just how bad it is today. Now, this band is expected to drift a little bit to the south later this afternoon and this evening, down in towards the typical snowbelt areas. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. But this wind is really causing problems. It's blowing all the snow around, so even if it's not snowing that hard, you're getting whiteout conditions just by the wind picking up the snow that's on the ground. Temperature's about 20, and the wind chill is about 20 below zero. And I have been in quite a few snowstorms, and this is about as bad as it gets as far as visibility, because you can barely see across the street. And again, we don't expect any improving weather, at least through the morning here in Buffalo. And the risk of snow and snow squalls continues through tonight and tomorrow. In fact, the band may move back into the city tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. It's very tricky. It just depends on a slight turning of the wind direction. As it turns more to the west, the band tends to sink south of Buffalo. So once again, travel band here in Buffalo, also northern suburbs of Tonawanda and Amherst, where we were last night. Those are the areas which were hit overnight, not only with snow, but with thunder and lightning, thunder snow, which just tells you how unstable the atmosphere is. We'll be in Buffalo throughout this event, keeping you updated. Again, just an amazing morning here in the Niagara Frontier as the snow continues to come down and we continue with these whiteout conditions. Back to you, Rick.
All right, thanks, Mike. By the way, some folks probably trying to do some traveling through western New York on this Monday morning, and if you are interested in the latest travel conditions, specifically on New York State's Thruway, you can call 1-800-847-8929. As we go back to radar, it looks like the worst conditions now are...
News. He says, great news, because now I can get into the truck stop and get some eggs and ham and some coffee and some biscuits and, you know, on and on and on. Sounds actually pretty good right now.
Yeah, it does, although I know you don't like eggs, do you?
No, but some coffee would really be nice.
Yeah.
Because even though you're in the truck, you're in and out all the time, the truck doesn't seem very warm.
No. The wind chills when they get below 20 degrees below zero.
Well,
it's tough.
At a point in time, at the end of all of my reports, my face gets numb.
Yeah.
And you can't move your mouth. It's like it's getting to that point right now. And actually, I better get out of the roadway.
You bet.
So, I'll see you later.
Okay.
All
right,
Ruth Ann.
Thanks, Ruth. We want to go to the DPW garage where Eric is a little bit warmer than Ruth.
A little bit, but not really a lot. The way these doors have been up and down, this is not necessary.
Trouble spots. A lot of traffic still trying to get to work, right, Keith?
Yes, Pam and Dave, we are right now on the west side, northwest side, north of Eagle Creek Airport here, around 62nd, 465. We're traveling south on it, and you can see the headlights coming north. Still a slow area here where people are coming off the 65 trying to get into 465 northbound. Very, very slow. A couple of trucks up here just really moving very slow, and that's got traffic backed up behind them. And this area is still a problem area. As we get over here, we can see that the lights are all the way back down to about 38th Street. So where they're merging here, they're merging very slowly, and that's backing up this whole northbound 465 on the west side. It's just completely slow here. Almost people are virtually maybe getting a mile or two an hour in some places, and really, really slow. The accidents we want to tell you about right now: Girls School in Washington, 46th in Shadeland, 38th in Illinois. We have Kessler and Meridian. So those are problem areas right now. We have traffic hazards, what are being reported to us at 30th and Post, 11th and Capitol, Ohio and East Street. And a lot of this is based on what I'm hearing over the scanners right now: lights, traffic lights, and they're going out. 11th and Capitol, light flash in all directions. So that's going to be a problem for as you approach these intersections. You know, you're going to see flashing lights, and they really not know what to do there. The bridges and overpasses we're seeing are still snow covered and slick as we fly over this. So there's just a lot of problems all over, and you can see right now, this is that northbound 465 moving very, very slowly.
Boy, that's something. Rush hour started early today, and it's going to last a lot later, I suspect.
Yes, Dave and Pam, it's going to be slow going out here.
Look at that. And there's no reason for that other than the fact that there's just tons of cars moving very slowly.
Right, where they're trying to merge up there, they're just virtually stopping, and that's backing it all the way up down through here.
Oh, my goodness. That's something. Well, stay home if you can.
Yes.
Thanks very much. Keith McCutcheon.
Oh, yeah, the advantage of our shift, Dave, is we don't have to deal with those, you know, those types of crowded situations, but at least they're going slowly.
Yeah. We've got plenty more coverage for you in Winter Blast 99, so stay with us.
It looks like it's coming along pretty good. We've got one of the lanes that is the right-hand lane, and this is going southbound, keep in mind. One of the right-hand lanes here is still kind of snow-covered, and part of that is ice. You go to the left-hand lane, and you're seeing more pavement. That's one of the ones that's been hit by the salt trucks a little bit better. One thing we've been talking about this morning, we've been talking about the safety of the cars and things like that, but for pedestrians, this is the sidewalk out here, and this one's been plowed nicely. The problem is that for a lot of folks, this has been the sidewalk, the street. So if you're out driving this morning, be aware there's going to be a lot of people walking on the roadways. So in that right-hand lane, be careful of pedestrians. And also, we've seen on Meridian Street here where this right-hand lane kind of shuts down to about a half a lane in some areas. So it could close off on you very quickly. So be careful out there.
You be careful right there with those cars going by.
Oh, yeah.
That scares us all the time.
I've been trying to stay on this side of the road most of the time. So we're in pretty good shape.
They're honking at you there, Steve.
That's right.
They want your autograph. That's what.
That's it.
That's right. They want to play that new game he invented last half hour there.
That's it.
So, hey, weather-wise, let's go ahead and check out the neighborhood weather net and see. Oh, anyway, it may be 0 in Richmond here, but that is not the actual temperature right now. Let's go ahead. We'll check the airport, and if one thing fails here, we'll go somewhere else. There's
What do we find Keith McCutcheon? How are the roads, Keith?
Well, Dave and Pam, we're over the interchange at 74, 465 on the west side. And this is where the backup actually starts as we turn to fly northbound here. You'll see the cars are stopping here and are virtually stop and go all the way up to 65, where 465, 65 meets on the west side here. This is very slow going out in this area, and it's going to be problems for the next hour or so, I'm suspecting. We haven't